Welcome to Yin Yoga Lifestyle. I am your host, Colette Darville. Cultivating our body's resilience and inner silence and its application to all aspects of your life. Let's become enlightened and enjoy the power of intuitiveness and creativity. You are listening to Society Bites Radio, social interaction for the mind and soul. Hello, and thank you for joining us today. I am your host, Colette Darville, and this is Yin Yoga Lifestyle. So now let us take a deep meditative breath. Inhale, so. Exhale, hum. Dr. Paula Casella's skills as a business consultant, facilitator, speaker, and life transformational coach are informed by her multicultural upbringing and a professional pathway chartered by keen intelligence, curiosity, and compassion. She grew up on 3 continents and is fluent in English, Portuguese, Italian, and Spanish. In over 25 years of experience, she has worked with a broad spectrum of clients, seeking always to expand their awareness and capacities as to fearlessly engage in difficult and strategic conversations, leading to positive transformation. Paula began her career as a quality of life consultant in Brazil, where she created healthy workplace initiatives for large international companies, earning professional awards. She developed expertise in change management, conflict resolution, cultural shift, strategic alignment, and partnerships. Using insights from transpersonal psychology and a personal life experience battling a debilitating illness, Paula is attentive to the ways of all aspects of our humanity, influencing the workplace and relationships. Her unique approach can transform entrenched conflict into courageous awareness of new possibilities. Paula holds a bachelor's degree in psychology, organizational psychology, a master's in business, and a master's and doctorate in transpersonal psychology. She holds certificates in meditation, wellness counseling, life transformational coaching. She is a path to heal and a bioenergy practitioner. I'm sorry that I was so tongue-tied. Welcome to Yin Yoga Lifestyle, Paula. I am just in awe of your introduction. So I'm like, really, she's done this. And I was like, wow. And I was stopping in mid-sentence and getting all tongue-tied. So I have to apologize for that.
It's beautiful, Colette. You know what I mean?
It was an aberration.
Thank you. And I just want to make sure that it is, my certificate is actually mediation and not necessarily meditation, although I do meditation. I want to make sure, just because for the listeners, there is a big difference there. So I want to make sure that, and I do work with quality of work life too. So in life. So, but I think it's fabulous because it just is it. It just shows, and that's part of my work, is that we have to just be whole. We can't just separate things. So, we mix it all and we laugh at all. So thank you for this delicious and beautiful introduction.
You know what? It was just such a lovely introduction that I thought, wow, I got right into it. I got so into it. So we can talk, and this could be like 10 podcasts with all your expertise. But first, I have to start at the beginning.
All right, let's do that.
And early in your life, you started somewhere that shaped and influenced your career choice. What was that? What gave you the inspiration?
Every time I ponder about that, I get that it was just a natural progression for me to just be doing what I'm doing in such a diverse way because I grew up in Brazil. I was born in Brazil to a Sicilian father, a Scottish mother, meaning I was always feeling I did not belong, but I belonged, right? So
Right.
working from a very early, I mean, literally from the time I was born, speaking multiple languages, being in different cultures, it just gave me that taste for for life in differences. And also my father was an IBM executive, and I loved getting to know his work. And I remember very well visiting his job. IBM had this open house thing. It was like for the families to visit. And I can describe everything that I saw roaming around the manufacturing facility and just being involved with my dad's job, coming to home every day in his suit. And I wanted to know. So I think there was a blend of just my natural ways of always being attracted to just be with people and actually be at work. I just love those things.
Yeah.
So, and also being in nature in my
That's
house there. So that
that's
connected
important.
everything together. Yes.
Yeah. You now you have a doctorate in transpersonal psychology. Can you explain what it is and how it relates to our everyday life? Because I'm not sure there's a lot of people out there who might understand what it actually is.
I agree with you. Probably most people, when I say transpersonal
Yeah.
psychology, most people like, then I can just see the eyes glazing. Well, transpersonal psychology is considered the fourth force in the evolution of the field of psychology. And so the first one, you have the behaviorism, psychoanalyst, humanistic, and so transpersonal. It came later in the late
Ah,
60s, and it's a force. Think of a psychology that goes beyond just the personal by going beyond our usual identification with our minds and our bodies. So transpersonal psychology seeks to honor the human experience in its fullest and most transformative expression. So, meaning, whenever possible, we delve deeply into profound aspects of the human experience, for example, mystical
right.
experiences, unitive experiences, personal transformation, meditative awareness, experience of wonder, ecstasy, alternative states of consciousness. So, those are ways that usually people are not thinking about them as human beings. So we
Right.
give room for the whole human being to be and to express itself in the
And is so how would we be able to recognize that in our everyday lives? Like how would that be something that we could sort of tap into and sort of um, stop and think about it kind of because it really does. It really those experiences actually make us stop and think, don't they?
Yes, they do. And that's why just by people listening to us having a conversation, we're expanding their awareness that they actually have as human beings, inherent capacities and potentialities to
Mm,
be expressed. So, for example, sometimes people on a walk or on a jog, they see a flower and they have an insight. And
right.
they are meditating and they have this experience of knowingness of what they need to get next, or they're having a conversation or a food, even like having a wonderful, pleasurable meal. And that will bring some grace. I mean, I'm giving you very weird, different examples, but it's just that other that is beyond just the regular way that we think, oh, this is my body, this is my head, I'm thinking. No, we're being there. Like we're in connection with so much more than that.
Right.
So it
Yeah.
could be that hunch that we get, that intuitive hit. It could be that idea. It could be, there's so many things, Colette.
Yeah, I mean it's I'm even thinking about, the whole idea of ritual and how you begin to see a little pattern for yourself that brings you to a place of contemplation. Like I don't know, having that lovely uh, cup of tea in the morning and you go out and you sit in your garden or you look out your window and then you begin to contemplate. But for me, the catalyst would be going and making that little cup of tea and sort of
Correct.
sitting down. I don't, is
Correct.
that?
That
Yeah.
exactly it, because then what you're doing with that cup of tea, you're allowing yourself to connect with yourself, with your innermost essence of you, your humanity. And that's what we're talking about. It's allowing all of that to come out
Hmm.
and be expressed.
Now you have a hard job because, and I say that because you've worked with many corporations. Are there some positive, immediate workplace initiatives that companies usually overlook implementing and that can easily create a cohesive, productive working environment? Because you go into places where nobody has ever heard of transpersonal psychology, and how could this ever be part of my working life or my employees?
Well, the beauty is because we're all human beings, it makes my job really easy instead of hard.
Ah,
Because
touche. That's
because the
awesome.
reason I know the reason I'm saying that is because that's exactly it. This is the most forgotten basic information that people don't just relate to. We're human beings. So it doesn't really matter the initiative per se, as long as it's done with care, acknowledging that there is a human being, acknowledging a person or a group, it goes a long, long way. And Colette, more important than a specific thing, for example, is
Yeah.
why they implement the initiative. A lot of times, what I see happening is that corporations or different business or groups, they will implement an initiative because it's a trendy thing to do, because it's the great place to work they are doing, and they forget to take into consideration what is the organization's values, what is the culture, what's their focus, what's the priority, is that in alignment with that? So it's really important to make sure that anything that's done, it's in alignment with who they are and what they want to represent as an organization, so that there is a match and a fit. Because then any initiative that is considering the human being and is in alignment with who they are, it will be
Hmm.
successful. There's no way out of that.
Wow. And was doing some reading. Yes, when I get a chance, I do some reading. and and one surprising study that I found, because we're talking about business and workplace communities. Um, there was one surprising study that found that young adults between the ages of 18 to 22 and adults between the age of 23 to 37 rated themselves sort of highest on feelings of loneliness and disconnection. And this is surprising because, or I think it is, because
Mhm.
it's in this era of constant social media and information access. In your opinion, are these things that a person might include in their like? What are some of the things that a person might include in their lives to offset these feelings? And is this something that places of employment might be able to address?
Great question. Well, one thing that I think that they should include is less time accessing social media.
Right.
There's definitely a place for it. It's not that I'm against it, but I'm just not, I don't see that being 24/7 on it is
Yeah.
something. Just as research shows, instead of connecting people to their humanity and their wholeness, what's doing is actually disconnecting them from themselves primarily and creating
Yes.
illusion of connecting with others and themselves. And so that's the main thing. So the first thing is to include less time,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Mm-hmm.
Meaning that when they use it, social media, so that is really used with more purpose instead of just a way to escape their own connection with themselves.
Right.
Because the first connection that needs to happen is with ourselves, and a lot of people are forgetting that. They're so outwardly focused on what needs to be, what has to be, and all that. And they forget to connect with their inner, with their cup of tea. And a lot of people, I believe, it's so interesting. Many people have a hard time even sitting down to have a cup of tea for 5 or 10 minutes on their own, or a cup of coffee. And right there it shows. Then we can understand the feeling of loneliness and disconnection that it derives, because of what we need to include is activities that will help them to develop the capacity to understand and grow their own inner world.
Right. Beautifully said.